Chapter 15. Juniper. I woke up to loud claps of thunder. When I turned over, I found myself lying next to him. I looked at the clock. It was 7:43 p.m. Lorenzo, I need to go before the rain starts. We fell asleep. Lorenzo sat up and looked at me. I had seen his emotional side, and he didn't seem to care that he'd let his guard down.
Thanks for being here for me, Juniper. You're a real nice person with a real good heart. You were by my side in the scariest moment of my life.
Just like you were for me, I said. And it was in that very moment that I realized my feelings for him went far beyond business. I got up and began to walk to the door, but he pulled me back and began to kiss me. I wanted to push him off me, but I couldn't. All I could do was helplessly kiss him back. His lips were soft, and I hadn't been kissed in months. I got lost in the moment and didn't want it to end. His tongue felt so good touching my lips, and I instantly got wet. When we finally stopped kissing, I just stood there looking at him curiously, wiping the wetness from my lips. There I was, pregnant with DeMarco's child, but kissing a beautiful man who was in great pain. I was sure that was the only reason he'd kissed me at all. I finally embraced him tightly, and we said our goodbyes. "I'll give you a call when I get home," I said.
"Okay,"
he answered, clearly not wanting to let my hands go. I got in my car and drove slowly as the rain pelted my windshield. The traffic wasn't bad, but it still seemed as if it took forever to get home. When I did finally reach our apartment, I noticed that DeMarco's truck wasn't there. Thank God for that. I really didn't even care where he was, nor was I bothered by the fact that I hadn't talked to him at all that day. An hour later, he came home and walked straight past me. We hadn't made love since we'd found out I was pregnant, even though the doctor had assured us it was perfectly safe. DeMarco claimed he was worried about harming the baby, but I thought there was more to it than that. He seemed different, and he'd even started sleeping in the other room, saying he thought I'd rest better if I had the bed to myself. Even the mornings were different. While we used to take showers together, lately he'd been locking the bathroom door, or else he showered at night after I fell asleep. I didn't want to ask him about it or make him feel as if I was accusing him of anything, because it didn't seem like the right time for that, but it was starting to get on my nerves.
"June, are you going to the hospital to see Lorenzo's girl?"
he asked. I cut my eyes over to him. Wow, can I at least get a hello or how was your day?
Can't I at least get an answer to my question?
I am seriously thinking about it. I want Lorenzo to know I care.
Well, maybe you should go take care of him then. I mean, you did find his woman in a pool of blood, right?
DeMarco, why are you being so sarcastic? That's just insensitive and straight up dirty.
Nah, let me show you dirty. Get the hell out of my apartment. Is that dirty enough for you?
What?
What are you? You heard me. Just get your shit and go.
I could not believe DeMarco could say such heartless things to me, that he dared throw me out while I was carrying his baby. In fact, I was sure he'd gone insane. DeMarco, you know the doctor told me I need to take it easy. Where am I supposed to go?
Hell, I don't know. Maybe Stephen Harrison's house, he said.
What?
That's right, June. You heard me. You've been sleeping with him anyway, right? Maybe he's got room for you and his kid.
I just dropped my head for a moment, then looked up at him. DeMarco, I am not screwing Stephen, or anyone else for that matter, I said softly.
Oh, yeah? Look, Juniper, when I stopped by your office to surprise you after all that fighting and arguing, that Hannah lady had a surprise for my ass. She unlocked the door, and I saw you and that punk-ass nigga. You didn't even know we were both staring at y'all's old nasty asses, watching you get it on while you on the damn clock. What the hell you got to say about that, huh?
I looked at him, wide-eyed, and shook my head.
What? You mute now? You had a mouth a few seconds ago. By the way, she told me that scandalous shit's been going on since you started working there.
I could not believe Hannah had dogged me out like that. That raggedy-haired bitch. I knew then that Stephen was right. She was just jealous of me. DeMarco pushed me so hard that I tripped over the gym bag he'd left by the floor. When I got up and stumbled into the kitchen, he followed me yelling, "Bitch! Did you hear what I said? Get the hell out of here. My name's on this lease, not yours, and I pay the rent and all the bills." He then reached back and pulled me so hard by the shirt that I fell down again. I began to cry, and I felt sharp pains in my back. "DeMarco," I pleaded, my voice trembling. "Please don't do this to me. I'm sorry about Stephen. I just needed someone to talk to when we had fights." My nose was starting to run and my eyes were burning. I followed him into our bedroom, begging him to listen, but nothing I said was good enough for him. Apparently, I had invaded his personal space a bit too much because he turned around and roughly grabbed my neck, then shoved me toward the bedroom door, ramming my back into the doorknob. I dropped to the floor in pain as he began throwing my clothes out of the dresser drawers. "DeMarco, what are you doing? What about the baby? Marco, baby, please just listen to me. Please don't do this to us." "Us? Bitch, are you kidding me? You did this to us." I tried to crawl to the bed so I could lie down, but DeMarco punched me so hard in the face that it knocked me back down to the floor. I was too hurt, stunned, and weak to even fight back when he began kicking me in the legs, thighs, and arms. I cried and pleaded for him to stop, holding my stomach to try to protect our child, but the more I pleaded, the angrier he seemed to get. "Get up, whore! I'm about to go get something to eat. By the time I get back, you better be gone." He then left the apartment and slammed the door behind him, leaving silence and tension in his wake. The pain in my back grew sharper, and I knew I needed to get to the doctor to make sure my baby was okay, but I could barely move. There was blood all over my shirt, leaking from my nose from where he punched me. My legs were black and blue, and the last thing I needed was for the cops and medical professionals to get involved. I knew that if charges were filed against DeMarco, he'd never forgive me. I crawled to the bed and tried to get up, but stumbled. I carefully made my way to my cell phone, but it took me a moment to decide who I should call. Finally, I dialed Stephen's number. "Hello," said a female voice, which I wasn't expecting. "May I please speak to Mr. Harrison?" "Who's calling, please?" "Just tell him it's Juniper from work." I tried to compose my breathing, but I was even more emotional as I heard the mystery woman call Stephen, then laugh seductively in the background. My head began to pound, my eyes burned even more, and I damn near used up a whole roll of tissue to wipe my tears and my nose.
"Hey you, what's up?"
"Stephen, can you please come get me? DeMarco and I just had a fight and—"
"Jay Breeze, I have company,"
he whispered, cutting me off. When I said nothing, he said,
"Hello?"
"I'm here."
"Wait, are you okay? It sounds like you're out of breath. Are you crying?"
"No, look, DeMarco knows, Stephen. He knows about us. Hannah told him." Now it was Stephen's turn to have a tied tongue. After a second of silence, I heard him tell his female guest to hold on. Obviously, she was impatient and wanted to get back to whatever they'd been doing. Everything was silent for a moment, then I heard a door slam.
"Look, Juniper, she's asked me a couple of times if you and I are seeing each other, and I've always told her we aren't. Hannah's just being Hannah."
"Why are you letting her off so easy? She invaded our privacy. It's your law firm. Someone could have gotten killed. DeMarco has a temper." Stephen was quiet for another minute, then said, "Juniper, are you okay to drive?
"Just go to a hotel, put it on the company credit card. Call me once you're checked in, and I'll meet you there in a couple of hours."
"Stephen, I don't need your damn money, okay? Matter of fact, I don't need you to do shit for me. Fuck it, and fuck you." Furious that he was willing to let Hannah get away with ratting on us, I hung up on him. I limped to my closet and grabbed a suitcase. then stuffed it with as many clothes as I could. I decided I'd come back for the rest the next day while DeMarco was at work. I went to the bathroom to grab some more tissue, but when I caught a glimpse of my damaged face in the mirror, I only began to sob more. My lip was swollen and my eyes were black. On my way out to the car, I ran into Trey. He just looked at me strangely, but he didn't say anything. I was sure he'd heard us fighting often and didn't want to get involved. By the time I made my way to the car, DeMarco was pulling into his parking space. I attempted to walk over to talk to him, but he began driving at me full speed as if he wanted to hit me. I jumped out of his way just in time and fell on the curb, scraping the palms of my hands on the concrete. He then backed into his parking space and went into the apartment. There I was, a pregnant woman lying on the ground, bruised and bleeding and being soaked with rain, with nowhere to go. I needed to call my sisters, but Taz was in Vegas with Pharrell and Cassia had gone to Detroit with her husband to attend his parents' 40th wedding anniversary party, so I didn't feel right bothering them with my drama. Besides, the last thing I wanted was for anyone to see how abusive I'd allowed DeMarco to be to me. Maybe I deserve it, I thought, sobbing. Maybe I should have kept my damn legs closed. I finally got in my car and started the engine, not too thrilled to hear LaToya Luckett's Torn blaring on the radio. I replayed all the recent events in my head. I can't believe DeMarco would throw the bills, the lease, and the rent in my face. If I remembered correctly, I was the one who'd helped him straighten out his horrendous credit. I was the one who'd helped him pay for the braces he had to wear for a year to close that gaping hole between his teeth. I'd bought half the furniture and paid the deposit on the place. I suddenly felt like a fool for letting him sign the lease by himself. I sat in the parking lot for about 20 minutes, going through my contacts on my iPhone and waiting to see if DeMarco would come back out to talk to me like a rational human being. While I waited, I called my bank to check my secret account. I'd taken Mama's solid advice and had saved $22,000 from my bonuses at work. I quickly transferred $3,000 to my checking account so I could use my own check card at whatever hotel I came across first. There was no way I was going to lower myself to using Steven's money. I pulled up to the Kawanda Hotel and Suites on South Los Angeles Street. As I checked in, the desk clerk noticed my disheveled face and asked if I needed help. Before I even realized it, I was snapping at her, telling her to mind her business. I knew that was dead wrong, because it certainly wasn't her fault that my man had tried to kill me. I apologized, took my key card, and headed to my room. Once I was situated in my room, I tried to call DeMarco at the apartment, but just as I expected, he wouldn't answer. At the moment, the person I needed most was Taz, but I was sure she was in a Vegas hotel room screwing Pharrell's brains out. Maybe I should call Mama, I thought, though she hadn't been thrilled at all to find out I was pregnant, and I was sure she'd probably lecture me all over again. "You'd be better off without that DeMarco," she would say again, and she wouldn't be wrong about that. I needed to get my life straight, to stop depending on DeMarco, and he'd made that perfectly clear. I took a shower and lay in the soft hotel bed, and I came to a conclusion. Tomorrow will be a new day for Juniper Alexander. Around 2 a.m., I was startled awake by the ringing of my cell. "Hello?" I said sleepily. Stephen immediately started in on me. "You were supposed to call me as soon as you checked in. Where are you?" After I told him which hotel I'd stopped at, I assured him that I was okay and that I'd call him the next day. Just hearing his voice irritated the hell out of me, and I couldn't fathom how calm he was about what Hannah had done. On top of that, she had the nerve to try to pretend we were friends. She was always asking me out for drinks, for a girls' night out after work. The one time I had taken her up on it, she'd gotten drunk and was so loud that men just laughed at us. That was the first and last time I'd hung out with her, and we hadn't gotten along since. The weekend rolled around eventually after that horrible week, and I didn't bother to call DeMarco. Stephen called what seemed like every damn hour on the hour until I finally told him to stop and that I'd call him when I felt like it. Regardless of any relationship between us, he had hurt my feelings deeply. I wasn't sure if I was angrier at him or DeMarco, but at that moment, I was sick of them both.